Yo YouTube, this is my video for Thursday the 31st of July. This could be a really short video, but I'm sure I can eke it out with some sort of rambling nonsense. I am currently sitting in the main car park, or a main car park in the middle of Spalding, looking for a job. I am finding it pretty difficult to get a job. There are a reasonable number of drivers still active and looking around me, and the time now is about 12:15. So I was sitting here thinking about getting my first job, and I thought I might as well update my YouTube channel on what's happening, because I don't feel particularly upset about this. To be fair, I'm quite sanguine about this sort of situation. I know what CX is like. I know I live in a certain area. If I don't get a job, I don't get a job. It's not. I'm not going to worry about it too much, which I think is a little bit surprising for me, because I think I have in the past been one that tends to worry too much about money. As long as I've got enough to live, then I'll be fine. And at the moment, that's how I feel I am. So I'm quite cool about the whole thing at the moment. Just sitting here reflecting on, how things are going. The things I was going to mention in respect to this is I got up very late today. I was not really with it this morning. I didn't really get out of bed until 10:30, I would say. And so obviously, if I was in any jobs, I would have missed those. But the thing that gives me comfort is when I was awake and looking at jobs, there were still quite a few drivers active around me. So I'll put a map up now to show you what it was like about an hour ago. And I don't think I've missed out on a lot of opportunities because I got up later today. Now, the next thing I want to point out is there is a lot of jobs on the CX for tomorrow. Tomorrow being Friday the 1st. So I am going to guess that tomorrow's going to be pretty busy. I'm guessing because it's the last week of the month this week, although Friday falls on the 1st. Quick supplementary note, which I forgot to say in my last video. Last night I also did a monthly summary from the start of the year of my work so far, my income so far, and it is horrendous. It is really quite poor. I'll give you an example. The number of days I worked in May, 4. The number of days in total in the last 6 months, 86. It's absolutely been a roller coaster up and down in terms of my ability to work and get income. But despite that, I still love the job. Looking forward for the next 5 months, the rest of the year, hopefully I get a bit more consistency, I get a bit more income, because it looks quite bad on that spreadsheet. At some point I'll share it with you. What I'll do is I'll share the end of July's stats in this video in some form, so I can tell you what I did in the whole month of July. Hi there YouTube, so I am on the move, but it is now nearly just gone 10 to 3, and I'm now on my way to the local cake shop stroke tea shop, and we are going to meet up and have tea and cakes rather than me get a job and earn some money. And I feel good about that, to be honest. I've been sitting around looking for jobs. I must say that there wasn't a lot of jobs on the CX, but there was some that I put bids on, and I put bids on at prices that I would be prepared to work for, that was fair, as opposed to cut my prices, and not surprisingly I didn't get any offers of work. So I don't mind. Today's not been luck for that. So I am now going to get the order in, but to finish off this video, obviously I've earned nothing today. It's not really been a working day, but it's been a self-indulgent day, I think is how I'd put it. But I have got some figures for you, and I did say in my last video that I have last night worked out my monthly figures, and as it's the last day of July and I'm not going to be earning any more money today, let me give you July's figures, which I must pre-warn you they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad as an income, but we know why, don't we? We know why. So I worked for 11 days in July, which is actually quite a lot compared to other months. I've driven, if you care about these things, I've driven a total amount of miles of 3,562. 3562. I have earned, as in invoice, my revenue for the month was £2,355. And that clearly is just not, it's a nonsense number if you think it's income or earnings. It's just the amount of money that I've been given as invoice payments for the work I did in July. I've got to take out of that all my expenses and my living costs, etc., etc. So I do make it clear that this is my gross revenue, not any kind of income. So my fuel for the month, fuel costs, came to £510. That's basically, just so you're aware how I work that out, that's basically all the daily amounts that I spend on fuel worked out by my pence per mile times the number of miles that I've driven, added up for the month. It's not summarised, as in I didn't take my fuel gauge at the start of the month and then at the end of the month and then work out some sort of average figure. That's just adding up all of my daily figures into one amount. And my net earnings after taking into account fuel and tolls is £1,827. But that's not my income, is it? No, it's not. How much of that 1,827 do I have to set aside as a responsible business owner to cover my fixed business costs? And the answer is £1,365. So if I take that off that net figure, the actual amount of income that I made in July that I can keep for myself and that will be taxed is £462 for the month. Now that's what I mean by that's not a very good figure at all. So I would hope to do better than that in the coming months, particularly now that I'm able to work more than 3 days a week. But this is the reason why when I did my annual summary of my business costs, I didn't bother including my income, because you can't really learn anything from the income that I make in terms of this job. What I would say, just to finish this off, is when it comes to thinking about the job that I do and whether it's suitable for yourself, my fixed business cost is very relevant. Definitely take a notice of that. My videos are very relevant, what I do in the day and how I do it. But just looking at my income and making any sort of judgment of that is pointless, because I'm not working at full capacity. I can't do certain things. So this is my real world income, but that's not an indication about what you would achieve. You would achieve, I'm sure, more than that. But what I provide through my videos